Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here with Jason Blaha Strength and Fitness, and once again it is time for a full body workout. But if you guys would please click like down below and drop me a comment, I would appreciate it. I started off with back squats. Of course, you guys know I do the classic lifts. On the back squats, I'm just kind of doing a little bit of back squatting. I'm not trying to go crazy hard here, just trying to maintain the movement pattern. I'm going to build it back up kind of from here. I threw in, you guys will see at the very end, I did some belt squats again finally. I already know if I just come in, do a little bit of squatting like this and do a little bit of belt squats, my squat will come back up. So it's kind of like this is going to be my strategy, I think, for a bit. I've been doing the sled work to build my legs, but I already know if I just do a little bit of belt squats, a little bit of volume there, build the quads back up a little bit after the cut I did, now that I'm really used to the running. Just do enough squatting like that, my squat will start climbing back up. All right, so for the benching, I'm really happy with the way the benching is coming along. All right, and for those curious, I'm just recomping. I'm staying at the same body weight. I will start cutting again eventually, slowly trimming back down towards to get down under 200. But the benching is doing really well. Doing a very, very small arch, so long range of motion, 315 for 4 pause reps again today. So now I'm able to consistently do that. It was triples. Then I got a 4 once, and then I back down to triples. Now I'm consistently getting 4 reps on those every workout. So same thing, did my top set of deadlifts, 500, got 4 reps. And the deadlift will come back up to just from the reverse hyper. So what I'm doing, obviously you guys can tell I'm doing a top set on everything. And then I'm coming in and just kind of bodybuilding with full body old school type stuff, building my way back up. So the reverse hypers, because I was only squatting and deadlifting really for lower, I did tell that my low back is becoming a little bit of a weak link. And hamstrings both. So I'm like, let's just build the reverse hypers back up. And these are easy to do. I have the machine. It's pretty straightforward, so I'm just going to progressively overload it. So I started, did a couple workouts where I just did the 220 for 5 sets of 25, and then I'm just going to build it up. I had 10 pounds last workout, 10 pounds again this workout. So I'll just take it up to 230, 240, and I'll just keep building that up. And as funny as it sounds, just doing this while doing the hard sets on the deadlifts will, of course, build my deadlift up. You guys will notice every set, they're like, oh, plate keeps disappearing off the bar. That's because that's what I'm doing in between the sets, right? Because these are really short breaks. They're like a minute apart. I only do like 60 seconds on the reverse hyper. I just pulling a plate off and go over, do a set, take the next plate off the deadlift bar, and just make it work in the rotation. So, and then we'll get over to the other stuff. I'm going to definitely push dips hard. Dips seem to work wonders for me, just getting thick, building my bench press. And one of the things I've noted, as much as I like rep back off work on the bench, I feel like dips do just as much for my bench. Dips build my bench really effectively. And I said that years ago, and I don't always like to talk about what I lifted before I was a content creator back in my 20s because I can't prove it, so I like to leave it alone. All I will say is I was stronger on the bench and the squat and other stuff than I have been here in my 40s, like making content. When I was in my mid to late 20s, I was a bit stronger, but understandably. But back then, dips really fed into my benching. A lot of closed grip, a lot of weighted dips. Okay. And so I feel like dips do a lot for me. So we'll get to that in a minute. But in the meantime, reverse hypers really helped, I feel like, get me back into the 600s on the deadlift. They keep my low back healthy. They build my entire posterior chain. But I do a fair amount of volume on them. So they take up a big chunk of the vlog, unfortunately. But if I want to document everything I do, you guys are going to have to watch me do 125 reps of reverse hypers. And that's okay. They're going to be right here because I like to do them after I deadlift. It helps with the recovery. But we notice we have a lot of traction work here. And I'm going to have people laugh a little bit and say, so why are we doing the belt squats at the end after all this upper body work? And I think the answer is quite obvious because I'm prioritizing upper body. Let's be realistic. For me, stuff like my legs tends to overshine my arms and stuff. So if I really and truly want all that, once I've done my little bit of deadlifting and low back stuff, I like to really make sure all my arm work gets done. And I am specializing a little bit in arms. Like they're getting, the only thing I'm really isolating is triceps and biceps. Like everything else is just big movements. And I could skip all that. Like quite frankly, I could just squat, bench, deadlift, do dips, and then do chin-ups instead of pull-ups, and I'd probably be okay. But I am trying to do a fair amount of arm work. And eventually, I'll take some of that down to the most basic stuff. I'll probably reach a point where just as I get older from the recovery, I might only do like 5-6 exercises like that. And I've done little bits of phases like that in the full body. But I'm at a point where, because of all the running, all the conditioning work I've done, I feel like my work capacity is really good. And since I'm now pushing the running for a little more performance and not running as long, I have the recovery now. So it's kind of like you build work capacity and then use it. Build work capacity and use it. So I feel like I've gotten into pretty good shape running. So again, we can use a little bit here, but I think the thing for me to really make this type of training work, I really need to only lift 3 days a week, and then we have all those days off. So we have time to grow between. But I mean, same thing there. I mean, I'm looking more thick. Like the recomp is going well because I'm not gaining weight. I've been sitting, after cutting, I've been sitting at this weight and I'm starting to fill back out. So it tells me we're recomping effectively. For those who are like, well, how are you doing it? Well, I'm pushing the training really hard and I'm not protein overfeeding. And I think that's going to be a big game changer. Like my protein intake's pretty ludicrous at this point. All right, so dips. Okay, so I feel like with the dips, I don't need to just push heavy. I just need to push progressive overload through any means. And I feel like for me, I can just take a 45-pound plate and just get more volume, higher quality sets, right? I was getting 8s with this on the deep range of motion. Now I got like 10, and then 11. And I'm trying not to start at the bottom position. It's just, as much as I like it, I just feel I benefit more from getting that stretch reflex all the way through. This helped build my bench up, again, just fine doing it this way. So it's kind of like, if I can get to sets of 12 or in a good place, I would almost venture to say, this was my 8 rep max. I'm up to doing 10s with it now. If I can get to 3 sets of 15 with a 45, I feel like my bench will go up measurably again, right? Same thing on the tricep work. And I've kind of reached that peak on the triceps. Like I PR'd it several workouts in a row, then kind of skipped it, then hit it again this one. And I've kind of stalled on it. And that's okay, because we're now at working with my old 10 rep max, and I've got 15s and stuff with it now. But I also look at that and go, okay, so if I can start getting the dips up to 15, because I got like 11 on that one, I can get 15 reps with this weight and then take that extension up. That's now a 15 rep max and get it to 20. Will my bench go up? And I think the answer is yes. All right, then for this, I always debate between pull-ups and chin-ups. And I'm like, look, I'll just do curls, right? And let's just be easy on the supine position. So I'm just like, let's just do pull-ups. And I'm just doing them shoulder width, right? Trying to get the stretch at the bottom. You guys will notice that near the end, I do hit dead hangs on some of the reps. And notice that still doesn't look like a full lockout. But those are my dead hangs, right? That's my full range of motion. But it builds my lats. Like lat development's on point from it. And pull-ups for me, a nice, fairly close like this is really easy on my shoulder. So I'm trying to continue to fix that shoulder situation so that I can overhead press again, right? I almost feel like I could just take the tricep extensions out once I can overhead press and just do dips and overhead pressing. And that would work really well, but I can't lock it yet. Now, some of that looks good, some of those hangs, and eventually if I can get to where I can get into those where I can press and get into that position without being stretched, we're in a good spot. So I am doing some shoulder mobility stuff every day off camera, just a little bit, letting certain things heal also. And I want to eventually get that range of motion back, right? I want to get that back. But the pull-ups are doing good here. I got sets of 10, with this. So 3x10 with just a 10-pound plate, and doing a full range and getting that hang on a lot of the reps, it matters. But yeah. So again, back is always doing well. All right, these extensions, like I said, this was my 10 rep max not that long ago. The other day I managed to get 2 sets of 15. Today I couldn't replicate it. But keep in mind, the bench was heavier, like more reps on the bench and then more reps on the dips. So when I did this last time, I think I only did like sets of 8 or whatever. So I did a little more repetitions on the dips. Okay. A little more repetitions on the bench. And it put me at my limit. Like I feel like I hit an absolute threshold. I hit an absolute limit on this of what I'm capable of doing. Because I got 15, but the form was degrading at the end. It's like I had to almost just do a pullover type to lock it. Right? So that 15th rep was really hard. Like I almost didn't get it. And then I went for the next set, rested a few minutes, like a 3-minute break, came back and I could only get 13. And it was just everything that I had. Right? It was everything that I had. So I was hoping I would replicate and get that 2 sets of 15 again, or get a 16th rep, but it's just not there. So I feel like with this, I've progressed on it really well, but now it's kind of like, man, it's everything I've got. And that's okay. We've progressively overloaded a lift and it's stalling a little, but the lifts we did before that work the same muscles are going up. So it's more workload walking into it. So we can live with that. That's perfectly acceptable, right? We should be able to look at that and say, okay, that's actually fine. That's actually okay, because we're still doing really hard sets here. And those it'll help feed the dips, and the dips will help feed the bench. So then for the curls, I already had that bar out. I'm like, let me just do the easy bar today for the curls. Because ultimately, as long as I'm doing curls, the biceps will grow. And there's a point where I go brachialis. I almost thought about doing hammer curls instead of the straight bar. But I'm like, no, let's just do the easy bar. And I got like 13 and then 14 at failure. The funny thing, we could argue about the efficiency of this. I always look more jacked with this, right? I feel like, why do I look so much bigger when I do the easy bar? I think it's just the angles involved. It forces that arm out in front more, with that closer grip. Right? I just feel like my arms and everything look bigger. Triceps look bigger even there from the front. So there's something to be said for it. I kind of like it though. So I did these, got good reps on them. Right? Well, I mean, even with the straight bar, I'm able to get, and yeah, that's just what my shoulder does up there because of my shoulder mobility. It looks a little funny at the start and then we get into the groove. So that's the funny thing, it's like I do have some different range of motion issues and things pop in place with the shoulder still, but it doesn't hurt. Like that's the strange thing. I don't have shoulder pain, right? So again, I'm just going to continue to work on the mobility in it though, and it's not like this is so heavy that's a problem for true every dude. I'm doing 13, 14 reps, strict, definitely not too heavy. All right, belt squat, I haven't used it in months and months. So I want to see actually how, I don't even know how deep I'm going. I feel like I'm going deep. I clipped this but didn't watch any of the reps yet, so I've worked it into the thing. So I did 2 sets of 15, just trying to go as deep as I possibly can. Notice the stance I'm taking is what we would do on an Olympic style squat. And I'm like, well, let's just use this, build the quads and the legs back up, use it to build quads and adductors, and watch it build my squat up. And I don't have to do a whole lot of this. Right, but I did 2 sets of 15. I wanted to just do rep work on it, especially since I didn't do sled today. I'm like, let's just do some higher reps on this. Get in. It's easy on the knees to do it that way and just rebuild some muscle in those quads. Right, doing the leg work, blowing back up. It'll improve my overall recomp. Throw a little bit of meat back on the quads and watch the squat come back up. See if we can get that squat back to 500 while recompositioning. But I feel like I'm looking decently thick there. And I think at these angles too, I can tell that we're slowly chipping away at body fat. Still got a ways to go, but feel like I'm successfully recompositioning at this point. And I feel like the heavy protein overfeeding is probably helping. So again, we did the belt squats here, and then I finished up with 1 set of high rep band press downs, right? So we finished up with some band press downs afterwards. But these felt good. They burned. I almost wanted to do a third, so I'm like, man, my quads are lit. Keep in mind we did do squats. And I don't ever have to have a huge amount of leg volume. My quads respond to moderate volumes pretty well. Like even when I was squatting 600, I never did more than 10 to 12 sets for quads in a week. Okay. So again, we do a set of squats. We do a couple of these. I could probably bump it to 3. And then we finished up with the band press downs, which I like to do for my tendons. But really happy with today's workout. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.